All right, shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
It's good to see everybody on this Feast of Lights. Great celebration. We're going to get it in, right?
Cut.
Y'all don't sound like you're going to. We're going to get it in, right?
Cut.
All right, give me some help here now. All right. So this Feast of Dedication. Now, remember in previous classes and in previous Feasts of Dedication, we went into the studies that it was called by 5 different names. Now, I'm going to ask, give me a show of hands that who can recall these 5 names that the Feast of Dedication was called, including the Feast of Dedication. Give me some hands who can name all 5. We know one is Hanukkah. Okay, that's what everybody knows. We celebrating Hanukkah. So it's also called the Feast of Dedication because Hanukkah means what? Feast of Dedication. It means dedication, rather. Okay, Corral, you had your hand up. Give me. You got to give me 3 now. I've gave you 2, so give me 3. Okay. Waiting too long now. Come on, my brother. No, sir. And no, sir. Okay. It's called the Feast of Hanukkah, Feast of Dedication, Feast of Lights. That's what Corral said, the Feast of Lights. And it's also called the Feast of Illumination. And it's also called Feast of Maccabees. Right, that's the 5. So get your pens and papers out and write now. Okay. It's called Hanukkah, Feast of Dedication, the Feast of Illumination, the Feast of Lights, and the Feast of the Maccabees, right? So now let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, the 12th chapter, and the 29th to the 31st verse. But before we read that verse, Hanukkah, or the Feast of Dedication, is a military event, right? It's a military event. It's a revolutionary event because people died in this thing. And the Israelites, who was led by the Levites, who were the Maccabees, who were the Hashmonean dynasty, they were fighting to get where we at now to celebrate this feast day. So it was a revolt against the Syrians. The Syrians at that time were the Edomites. They were the Seleucids, the Antiochus IV Epiphanes. Okay, which were the Greeks. That's who our forefathers was fighting against. They was trying to wipe the honor and the worship of the Most High. They was trying to wipe that off the scene, and almost did it until the Maccabees, Mattathias, and his sons rose up to fight for the Israelites in that battle. So this is a revolutionary event. This is a liberation event. This is a military event. So it's nothing wrong with praising the Most High for taking down your enemies. That's right. It's nothing wrong with a 2-edged sword in your hand and executing judgment on the wicked. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, because our forefathers did it and they praised the Most High. Right. Okay, we're in the book of Deuteronomy, the 12th chapter, 29 to 31st verse. Let's read that.
Read out the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29, chapter 12, verse 29. When the Most High thy power shall cut off the nations from before thee, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their land, take heed to thyself, that thou be not snared by following them.
Yeah, you don't be all trapped up and then caught up by following the wickedness of these other nations like we are today. See, during the Maccabee period, during the Feast of Dedication, before that, Israelites was caught up in what? The Hellenization. They was caught up in the Greek customs. Just like our people today, they're caught up in this religion, Christianity. Okay, that's not Christ-like. Okay, in the book of Acts, it tells you that the apostles was called Christians first in Antioch, but not as a religion. The people was pointing at them and said, they just like Christ. They just like H.O.D.C. They Christ-like. They didn't make a religion out of this thing. You see what I'm saying? So it's okay to be a revolutionary, but be about righteousness. Be about righteousness. It's okay to speak about liberation, but be about righteousness. Always put the Most High first. Come on.
After that, they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their powers.
Don't even ask them about their gods, man. Don't even try to inquire. Don't be inquisitive about what they doing. If they burning incense, hey, what y'all doing? Who the God? Who? Teach me about that. That's what got us in trouble in the first place.
God.
So don't inquire about this negative, man, because we got who? The Most High. We got the Mashiach.
That's right.
Come on.
Saying, how did these nations serve these gods?
See, being nosy. How do they do this? How do they worship Buddhism? And I remember before I came into truth, I was nosy like that. I was kind of into damn near everything, including Buddhism, man. I still remember those chants. Remember everything about it, Yeah, so we nosy, want to check out everything. And then we end up getting lost. We becoming a jack of all trades and a master of none. Right. End up being lost. You don't know the Most High, so you're lost. You done learn everything else. But what you supposed to learn? Your nationality. And who is your God?
That's
and
right.
The future redemption. Come on.
How did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise.
There you go. You're being nosy now. How did they sacrifice? How did they do this? Even so, we want to do that too. Come on.
Verse 31, thou shalt not do so unto the Most High thy power. For every abomination to the Most High, which he hateth, have they done unto their powers. For even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their powers.
And also when the Israelites began to get nosy, the nations were sacrificing their children. The Israelites began to do the same thing.
That's right.
The kings of Israel began to sacrifice their children. The leaders began to do that. And the people began to follow the leaders. So the leader says, okay. The people say, okay, it's cool. Okay. Just like in this society, they said it's okay to be sodomites. It's okay to be lesbians. It's okay now. It's okay for you to teach your children that. It's all right to teach it in the schools. It's okay to take the Bible out of the schools. It's okay to push this negative. It's all right now. Okay, come on.
Verse 32, what things soever I command you, observe to do it. Thou shalt not add thereto, nor diminish from it.
Diminish. And the book of Revelation say the same thing. Whoever add or take away from the words of the Most High said, I will deal with you. Okay, let's go to the book of Numbers, the 7th chapter, and the 84th verse. Sister, okay? Book of Numbers, the 7th chapter, and the 84th verse.
Read now the book of Numbers, chapter 7, verse 84. This was the dedication of the altar.
Okay, this was the Hanukkah of the altar. So dedication, Hanukkah is not new. Hanukkah means to what? Dedicate. So this is the dedication of the altar. Come on.
In the day when it was anointed by the princes of Israel.
Yeah.
12 charges of silver, 12 silver bowls, 12 spoons of gold.
Okay, let's go from there. Y'all see that, right? This is the dedication of the altar. This is the Hanukkah. Okay, so it's nothing that just popped up. Okay, let's go to the book of John, the 10th chapter, and the 22nd verse to the 24th verse. The book of St. John. The 10th chapter, from the 22nd verse to the 24th verse.
Read out the book of John, chapter 10, verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication, and it was winter.
And it was winter. It said, and it was at Jerusalem, the feast of what? Hanukkah. The feast of dedication, and it was a little cool outside, right? Is it cool out there now? So what do we celebrate? Feast of dedication, Hanukkah.
That's
Come
right.
on.
Verse 23. And Yahushua walked in the temple of Solomon's porch.
Not on Hanukkah?
And Yahushua walked in the temple in Solomon's porch.
Okay, read the 24th verse.
Then came the Jews round about him and said unto him, How long dost thou make us to doubt? If thou be the Hamashiach, tell us plainly.
No, Yahushua wasn't going to do that. He's not going to just come straight out and tell you. Okay, you got to have that faith. You know, you had to be real with Yahushua. You had to be for real with the Messiah. He didn't play games. So he walked in the temple on Hanukkah. So he just walked through the temple. No, he was observing the day. He understood the day. He respected that feast day. He respected it. Okay, let's go from there. Let's jump into how this feast day came about. It came about through a way of warfare. It came about through a way of revolution. Okay, now we're not going to go into everything. We're going to the book of Daniel. We're not going to go into all the history. We're not going to go into, when we speak about Antiochus IV Epiphanes, which was a forerunner of the Antichrist. We're not going to go into the Antichrist. We're not going to go deep into the abomination of desolation. We're not going to deal too much with the future. Okay, because we've taught classes on that. Go back and watch the shows. Take your notes out. You got the notes. Blow the dust off it and start reading those notes. Okay, shake it a little bit. You know, get some of that stuff off it and start reading your notes. Con? Okay, let's go to the book of Daniel, the 8th chapter. And we're going to read, not going to do all of it. Let's read the 3rd verse to the 9th verse. I just want to get a little understanding on Antiochus IV Epiphanes, who was a Greek ruler ruling out of Syria. He was a part of the Seleucid dynasty. Remember when you read Daniel, the 11th chapter, when it reads about the kings of the north and the kings of the south, you have Jerusalem right in the middle. And you have up north, you have Syria. And the Seleucids ruled from up north. And their headquarters was in Antioch. And now you have Egypt was south. They were kings of the south. The Seleucid was kings of the north. So the Ptolemies were the kings of the south. And Jerusalem was right in the middle. So whenever you read in Daniel, the 11th chapter, the history of it is the kings of the north and the kings of the south, they both were Greeks. They were Greeks in Egyptian ruling, the Ptolemies. There were Greeks in Syria ruling. Okay, the Seleucids. They were Edomites. They were descendants of Esau. You got me? Okay, let's go to the book of Daniel, the 8th chapter from the 3rd verse. Let's go to the 9th verse. To try to make it plain and clear. Let's go.
Read now the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 3. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns.
Now, a lot of y'all been in these classes now. You know, I like to flow straight through my classes. No interruptions. Okay, but by a show of hands now, the scripture speaks about there stood a ram which had 2 horns. Can anybody break that down by a show of hands? Okay, continue to read then. I'll take that as a no.
I raise my hand.
Go ahead. I know you're going to raise your hand because you've been around long enough.
All right.
Okay.
Which had...
I'm talking to the stewards.
Oh.
You know, the stewards, the brothers and sisters that just got here, that have been in the classes, but I don't think they took any notes. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. But they've heard this breakdown before. It's not new to you. You heard about Daniel the 8th chapter. Y'all heard about the rams. Y'all heard about the he-goat and all that. Y'all heard about that, right? Yeah, con. But I'm asking you to break it down for me. La, you can't do that. Okay, come on.
And the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last.
Okay, so this ram is talking about the Persian Empire. So who did the Persian Empire take down? What kingdom did they defeat?
Babylon.
Got to give me some hands now. Oh, okay, well, y'all call it out. I'm going to continue to teach.
All right,
Okay, the ram represents the Persian Empire, and the two horns represents the Persian and the Medes. Like a lot of times in the scriptures and a lot of time in history, you will see the Persians and Medes together. You will see the Medo-Persian Empire, right? Because when we break this verse down, it's going to tell you who was first and who was last. Okay, it say that had two horns, and the two horns were high. It say, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. So the Persians, it was the Medes that was their superior. So the Persians came up last, okay, and they became mighty. Okay, you know the stories about Cyrus the Persian, Cyrus the Great, the Cyrus that issued that decree to allow the Israelites after the Babylonian captivity go back into the land and to rebuild the walls and to rebuild Jerusalem. Okay, y'all know that, right? Y'all know that story. And also the scriptures in the book of Isaiah where the Most High gave Cyrus a title because he allowed that decree to go down. And that title was the Most High called Cyrus his shepherd. He called Cyrus, who called the righteous man from the east. And he spoke about a unclean raven, you know, because Cyrus is unclean. So the Most High said, yeah, this is a righteous man. He's going to execute my judgment. Okay, that don't make Cyrus an Israelite now. That don't make him buddies with the Most High. You
That's
see what I'm saying?
That's right.
So the Most High just used him. It's just like Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian king. When Nebuchadnezzar got sick, you know, lost his memory, his mind, just wasn't right, man. All types of spirits and demons was upon him. And when he got well, what did he do? He praised the Most High. I mean, that's what he's supposed to do. That's what the whole planet Earth's supposed to do, praise the God of Israel.
That's right.
He the God of all nations, of everybody. He's the God of Israel, but he's superior over all nations and all people because he created them.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? He created them. So in the future, all nations is going to praise the God of Israel. And all nations is going to have respect for the Most High's people.
That's right.
The Hebrew Israelites, not one tribe, two tribe, or three, all 12. Okay, because that's what the scriptures say. Okay, the Israelites are ambassadors to the world for the Most High. You see that? But the Most High used nation. He used Nebuchadnezzar. He used Cyrus the Persian. The Most High could call him what he want to call him. If he want to call him righteous man, yeah. That don't mean he's going to be in the kingdom sitting on the throne next to you. Okay, because he did the works of the Most High. He executed what? The decrees that the Most High told him to execute, right?
That's right.
What verse we in? Where we at?
Verse 4.
Okay, so this third verse is the two horns were the Persians and the Medes, and the Persians came up last. Okay, they were superior. The Medes and the Persians was working in the same government together. You understand? They was intermarrying with one another. Come on.
Verse 4. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him.
Right. That means no other kings, no other nation. So he pushing southwest all over the world, just taking over territories, countries, and kingdoms. Come on.
Neither were there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great.
And became great. This is what history, not his story. This is the Most High story. This is what the prophets recorded, brother and sisters. And you can go into historical books. You can read about this event. You can read about pushing westward, northward, eastward, and southward. You can read the areas that the Persians conquered, brother and sisters. And it goes right back into the scriptures. Nebuchadnezzar and Cyrus the Persian were actual people.
That's right.
They were rulers. They was kings in this earth way before you got here, you and I. But they are records. They are history that they have been here. In museums, they have artifacts and documents that those rulers were here. And the Israelite kings, remember the steward classes. Caleb, you remember? Sister, you was in those steward classes where we have shown the different steles, you know, where the Assyrian king is recorded in a stele taking down the northern kingdom's king, Ahab. Their names is written in those steles. And it's in, some is in the British Museum, still there today. Now, if you have any doubts or you have a lack of belief, then go look at the artifacts and prove that the Bible, the Most High's word, is real.
That's right.
Okay, you don't have to doubt. You go check it out. That's what a lot of our brothers and sisters are doing now. You know, a lot of finance coming into play. Esau been doing that. There's no God. Let me go check it out. He goes over there and dig all up in the ground and digging everywhere, and he find artifacts. I believe, you know, but I ain't gonna let nobody know. I'm gonna just put the information out. You see that? So the Most High is real.
That's right.
You never, don't lose faith. I forgot to title my class too. So, and my class is about faith. It's called the Feast of Dedication and the Level of Faith that is Required. You see that? The feast, which is Hanukkah, the Feast of Dedication and the level of faith that is required back then and in these last days, because we're going to read about the level of faith that our forefathers had at that time when they had to fight against the Syrian Greeks, when they had to battle Antiochus IV Epiphanes, and the level of their faith. Now, we're going to read about the mother that watched 7 of her sons being put to death right before her eyes. And she stood strong. Go ahead. No, don't eat that pork. No, don't deny God. Go ahead and take the death. And I'll come join you. You know, some mothers today, no, go ahead and eat that pork. He ain't gonna hurt you, boy. Yeah. But back then, the mother said, no. Don't give in to this Greek, to this tyrant. Take the death. And they said what? Their faith was on what? They was living on what? The resurrection. And that's where our faith should be too, in the resurrection. You know, we lose loved ones, we lose Israelite brothers and sisters. The faith should be, yeah, we'll see one another again in that resurrection. Try to make that first resurrection, right? Right. Yeah. Okay, because there's no death in that first resurrection. See? Come on.
Verse 5. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth.
You hear that? And I was considering. He already saw the ram in this vision. The ram was coming from west, south, coming from everywhere. And he saw the 2 horns. One horn was higher than the other, then the higher came up last. And now I consider and I see this goat now. Come on.
And touched not the ground.
That means that goat was putting in work. Moving so fast and doing so much, the scripture say he touched not the ground. He's putting a lot of work in. Come on.
And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes.
Oh, that notable horn. Let's go.
Verse 6. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power.
So we broke down the ram, the Persians and the Medes. Now the goat and that notable horn, everybody together was who?
Alexander the Greeks.
I say everybody together. Well, everybody together, who was it?
Alexander the Greeks.
Just a lot of rhyme talking? Man, I ain't got no help in here tonight, man. Where my help at? Where y'all at? I ain't got no help. Who is it, Lob Ryan?
Alexander the Greeks.
Alexander the Greek was that notable horn. Okay, and their emblems were a goat. They was called the goat people. Okay, go check it out. Continue.
Verse 7. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him.
Right.
And smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns, And there was no power in the ram to stand before him.
So when it say that he broke the two horns, that means he took down the Persians and the Medes, right? And there's a lot of class that was taught on the Greeks and the Persians wars. Y'all should have y'all notes. Y'all should have those notes. The Persians and the Greek wars were some bloody wars, man. Bloody wars. Bloody wars. I say it again. They were some real bloody wars. And the scriptures say that the goat came to the ram with choler, which is anger. And they had some vicious wars. And the Greeks finally takes down the Persians. Okay? And then from the Greek, then the Romans. And then we go all the way up to the medievals, to the Crusades, and all the way up, man. We go into like the Romans, the Diocletians, the Septimius Severus, right, where the gladiators took down, well, overthrew the Romans, and then you had blacks that was in there at that time with Septimius Severus as a Roman general, Diocletian and those guys. Okay, when you read about the Dark Ages, but we'll get into that some other time. Okay, come on.
But he cast him down to the ground.
Well, yeah, we in verse 7, right?
Yeah, we still in verse 7.
Come on.
But he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him. And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand.
Okay, no help at all. All of his auxiliaries, all of his mergers, the armies that's supposed to be backing him up. Remember when I taught Saturday, I mentioned when the Babylonians took down Jerusalem, there were Edomites with the Babylonians. They were the ones that were saying, raise it, raise it, raise it. The Edomites helped burn the temple.
That's right.
And when I mentioned in the book of Numbers that Moses asked the Edomites, can we pass through your land? And they said, hell no, you can't come through our land because y'all going to possess the blessings that's supposed to be our blessings. No, you can't come through our land. And then one of y'all would have did the same thing.
Cool.
If you supposed to been got something and I got it, and I want to pass through your land, you would say, no, you can't come through here. You going to receive the blessings that I'm supposed to be getting. No, you can't come through here. If you do, I'm going to bring my people out and we're going to deal with you. We're going to rumble. Oh, y'all think the same way. Y'all feel the same way. So look at Esau. Look at the Edomites. They didn't receive the blessings. They didn't receive the inheritance. They didn't receive the covenants. Okay, it's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's not Abraham, Isaac, and Esau. Okay, that's what they wanted, but they didn't get it. Come on.
Verse 8. Therefore, the he-goat waxed very great.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was strong, the great horn was broken.
Yeah, Alexander died. And he was a young commander, young general. Young. Conquered what? The known world. And in the history, when he couldn't conquer no more, he got mad. Damn, ain't nothing left that I can conquer. I'm not to create a land, create a country, Go ahead.
And for it came up 4 notable ones towards the 4 winds of heaven.
Toward the 4 winds of heaven, the 4 notable ones. Now I want to see some hands. Can you name the 4 notable ones? This talking about after Alexander died, his 4 generals risen up and they positioned themselves. But before they positioned themselves, there were many wars. There was many years of wars between these generals before who gonna take what, before they stabilized that situation. And when you read in the history, it's called the Wars of the Diadoches, which Diadoches means successors. Okay? Now give me some hands. Who can name the 4 generals? Come on, man. Y'all, come on, man. Give me some hands. All these classes y'all been in. Ainwa raise his hand. Everybody want to follow. Come on, Ainwa. Ainwa. Say it loud, brother. You sound like you're guessing. Okay. Ptolemy is right. Caleb's shaking his head, but you won't raise your hand. Who? Seleucus. Come on, don't help him. If you want to help him, raise your hand.
That's right.
If you want to help him, raise your hand. I give you one, and then I come to you. I give him one, and I give you one. You want to team up with him? Come on, Anwar. So you can't give me the other two here. Okay, you got you said Ptolemy and Seleucus. Okay. Okay. Come on, Mike.
Sandra.
You looking at your notes, right? You looking at your notes?
I'm looking at the Bible. Cassandra Lassamikas.
Okay. Where did you get that from? What kind of, you got the historical Bible? You looking at your notes. You looking at something. But if you're looking at your notes, that's what you had it written down, right? That's what you're supposed to do. I don't mind you looking at your notes. I just want you to have something. See, we don't want these classes to go out and you're getting nothing from the classes. I don't care if you go back and get your book bag and pull out a whole big case of notes and read them off to me. That's what I want. I want you to do that. Don't just sit there, make an effort, apply the efforts, because all y'all been in these classes. You got your notes. You heard this before. You heard it before. This is not new to you. Let's your mind now. This is not new to you. Okay? Now, where we at,
Verse 9.
Now, name them again, Mike. Name all four.
Sandra, Lassamikas, Seleucus, Ptolemy.
Okay, now, since you got it written down, what areas did they rule?
Sandra, Greece.
Oh, he's coming fast. Well, okay, come on. I like that.
China, Seleucus, Syria, Ptolemy, Egypt.
My man. See, write it down. Come to the class and take notes. Yeah, he threw it. Hey, y'all got to be quiet on that left side. He shot it out there like a missile when I asked for it. He didn't hesitate at all. That's what you're supposed to do. Take the notes. Sometimes I give tests and I let you use your notes. But sometimes I'm not going to allow you to use your notes. You understand? So you did all right, Mike. Okay, he said Cassandra ruled Greece and Macedonia, and Lysimachus was Asia Minor, and Ptolemy was Egypt and Palestine. See, that's our people right there, Palestine. And Seleucus was Babylonia and Syria. Got me? Okay, now read the next verse. We're going to stop at the 9th verse.
Verse 9.
Okay.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn.
Now that's who we're going to deal with tonight. Now give me some hands. Out of these four generals, one of them came out, a little horn came out of one of these four generals. Matter of fact, he came out of the Seleucids. Now, who was this little horn? Give me some hands. Did the sister got to redeem y'all? We got to bring Deborah back. We got to bring Esther back. We got to resurrect Judith so she can take that guy's head off again. I can't remember his name. One of the enemies.
Holofernes.
Okay. Come on, Yehodah.
There you go.
What'd you say? Which one? The third?
The fourth.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
It might be the third now.
No, it wasn't.
Okay. All right. All right, my man. All right. I'm going to get to you on the next one since I see you got a whole book of notes. But that's what you're supposed to do. Have your notes. Okay. Now, you read the 9th verse.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn.
Who was Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes. Now, what do the word Epiphanes mean? Come on, Zaquan. Yeah. Okay.
I was going to say, man.
No. What do it mean? Wait. What did the Israelites call it? No. Come on, Mike.
Is God manifest on earth?
Okay, now, Zaquan the Posh, what did the Israelites call it?
Madman.
Now, Give me the meaning of that. They call him Epimanes, which means madman. Okay, you in the circle, you all right. You there, you a little hot. Okay, come on, La Ryan, let's finish it up.
Which waxed exceedingly great towards
okay.
this.
Okay, you can nix that. So it say, and towards the pleasant land. The pleasant land was Jerusalem.
Right.
Now let's go into the Apocrypha. Everybody got the Apocrypha, right? Sharon, you got your Apocrypha? Okay, I know I get you. We're going to go to the Apocrypha. We're going to 1 Maccabees, the first chapter, and the first verse.
Reading out of the first book of the Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1.
We're going to read from 1 to 15. Come on.
And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetam and smited Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, first over Greece.
Now, remember in the book of Daniel, the horn and the goat were the wars of the Greeks and the Persians. So in the Maccabees, it's explaining it to you what Alexander did. He took down the Persians and the Medes. It's explaining it. And it say he was the first over Greece. The Greeks, Alexander the Greek. Come on.
Verse 2, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth.
Come on.
And went through to the ends of the
You
earth.
see that? He went through the ends of the earth. Remember that I said he conquered the world? When he couldn't do anymore? Got upset? Damn, I ain't nothing left for me to destroy. Come on.
And took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him.
Come on.
Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him.
Right.
And after these things, he fell sick, and perceived that he should die.
Come on.
Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth.
Come on.
And parted his kingdom among them, while he was yet alive.
Okay, now, the scripture reads, when Alexander became sick, he parted his kingdom and he died. But we speak about the four generals. The four generals, Cassander, Lysimachus, Ptolemy, and Seleucus, right? Now, Ptolemy in Egypt and Seleucus in Syria plays a major role in the history of Israel. And dealing with Hanukkah, the Feast of Lights, the Seleucid, which were the Syrian Edomites, played a major role. Now, Egypt did too, but the Syrians, the Seleucid kingdom, the Seleucid dynasty played a major role because Antiochus IV Epiphanes was out of the Seleucids. Con? Okay, so now when the scriptures say that he parted his kingdom between his four generals, now Alexander had many generals. He had many loyal generals, but these were main four. Remember that took over certain kingdoms or certain countries. Remember the wars that they had before they stabilized who gonna take what? The other generals was involved in that war, but these four was more powerful. Remember I said go into the history and look up the wars of the Diadoches, which mean Alexander's successors. You will read about those wars. He had a general by the name of Cletus the Black. Don't mean that he was black, just Cletus the Black, and he had another general called Cletus the White. Now, when Alexander died, his brother supposed to have took the rulership, but he didn't have that much, that much clout for the guys to trust his leadership. His name was Philip Aridaeus. And then certain of Alexander's top generals wanted to put Alexander's son on the throne to rule. But These some powerful generals, man. How can somebody with no experience or not much experience in battle come up against generals that's been battling for about 20-some years? You can't win it, man, unless the Most High is with you, like King David and Goliath. Goliath was an expert killer. He was a trained gladiator. He was a trained fighter. Okay. Let's continue. Go ahead, Lord Ryan.
Verse 10, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king.
Now, if it cut off again, I'm giving you points. Come on, let's go.
Who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
Okay, that's the Greeks' time, the Seleucids. Come on.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men.
Wicked men. It's always going to be wicked men, wicked people of our nation. That's always going to be. Until we get in the kingdom, until the rebels are purged. Come on.
Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen.
Did we just read Deuteronomy where the Most High said, don't do that? Come on.
Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Those are the wicked Israelites. Man, you know, keeping the law ain't fun. Every Sabbath, I got to keep the Sabbath and go read that Bible. That ain't fun. I want to do what the heathen does. I want to do wickedness. Come on.
Verse 12.
I don't want nobody looking over my shoulder, checking me, you know, when I break a law, or checking me when I'm breaking the Sabbath.
That's right.
Or checking me when I'm doing wrong. I don't want nobody to check me. I want to go join the wickedness because they wicked. They ain't going to say nothing because they wrong too. They ain't going to check me. You know, if I get down and sacrifice to a pig, they ain't going to say nothing because they doing it.
That's right.
So I've been having sorrow. That's what the Israelites say. We haven't had any fun since we keeping the laws of Yah, the laws of the Most High. Let's go join the wickedness. See, because a lot of our people think that they can get over and really have fun doing wickedness. No, you have fun doing the right thing.
That's right.
Because you know that you don't have to look behind your back. You know you don't have to look behind your spiritual back. You don't have to deal with the consequences when they come at you. Because there are consequences. There are principles. There are consequences, brothers and sisters. If you know you're supposed to be doing right and you don't do it, there are consequences. Come on.
Verse 12. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen.
They got permits, just like you get permits in this time. A lot of things that you want to do, you got to get a permit to do it. Come on.
Verse 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen.
Okay, now this is inside the Most High city. And they built a place of exercise according to the heathen. Come on.
Verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised.
They wasn't circumcising their children. And when the scriptures say made themselves uncircumcised, because they were circumcised in keeping the customs and the faith of the Most High. So they became unclean now, because circumcision is clean and unclean. If you circumcise, it represents cleanliness. You're uncircumcised, that's uncleanness. Okay, that's one aspect of it. Come on.
And forsook the holy covenant.
Right.
And joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief.
Okay, let's jump to the 41st verse.
Verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom.
This Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes. Come on.
That all should be one people.
Right.
And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathens agreed according to the commandment of the king.
Okay, that's all the enemy, the heathen nations want. You to become one with them.
That's right.
You to be around sodomites. You to be around lesbianism. They want you to be as one. Do all the drugs you want. You can club and commit adultery. You can do all that.
That's right.
Okay, you know, take my wife. Hey, take her. and you know, they got things going on. He sit there and watch. You know, they want you to get involved in this foolishness. They want the permits and license, and they want you to be as one with them into this foolish stuff, this negative that's going on. But the Most High wipes out all of that. And when you keep the laws of the Most High in every Shabbat that you make and continue through the week, if you work on jobs and you around the different negativity, and when you make it to the Shabbat, you feel good about yourself, right?
That's right.
Everything is taken care of in your household. Bills paid. You got to pay bills. Bills paid, everything, and you like, okay, what am I lacking? I know we're not in the kingdom. Okay, I know I need, you know, but I'm all right. The principle. I'm all right. All right. And you make it to the Shabbat, see the brothers and sisters and set them prayers up, and then you get involved in some of these classes, and you kind of at peace. It's not so much of a burden, but you know when you go home, you got to go right back that whole week and deal with the enemy. You got to deal with certain structures that's there. You may have to punch a clock. And when you walk into your work zone, you may see a big image of Buddha, or you may see Caesar Borgia standing there smiling at you. But you just got to deal with these things, man, and you got to become strong. You got to stay strong around your enemies. You understand? And always walk in the spirit of the Most High while you're Yahushai. And always, the scripture said, be at peace with all.
That's right.
If it's possible.
If it's possible. That's right.
If it's possible.
That's right.
Now, don't go out and start anything, but try to be at peace with all, especially Israelites.
Good.
You know, because it seems like we pulling away from peace with one another, but always try to respect other Hebrew Israelites and respect all people, man. Okay, if you can give an answer that would educate or open a person's mind, do that and keep it moving. Continue.
Verse 43, yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion.
Many also of the Israelites consented to his religion. Go ahead.
And sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath.
And profaned the sacrifice to idols and profaned the Sabbath. And when you read in the history of the Maccabees, there was a priest, we may talk about him tonight. There was a priest named Onias. He got into a battle with an Israelite that was in Jerusalem, I think was the son of Tobias, if I'm not mistaken. We may get into that tonight. And he expelled Tobias from Jerusalem, and Tobias ran into Syria where the Seleucid Greeks were. See, because Tobias wanted to bring that Hellenization, and he wanted to support that. So Onias the priest said, no, we're about the Most High. Get up out of here. So it's nothing wrong with expelling somebody from your congregation if they coming in there with foolishness.
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
You know, but we got this thing, oh, you can't put me out the truth. Yeah, we can put you out this school. Yeah, you can keep the truth. You can have that wherever you want to have that, but you won't do that here. See, so if our forefathers did that back in the past, you can do that now. Somebody coming in your congregation with foolishness, whispering in the young babe's ear about other gods and all this other doctrine, yeah, you can dismiss them. I mean, you can verbally tell them or put out a letter, huh, take that, read it. Yeah, see you, shalom. Yeah, you can do that. There ain't no wrong with that. You are wrong. No, we are right. We are right.
Right.
We're not wrong. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land. Mm-hmm. And forbid.
You hear what it said? Strange laws of the land, because they wasn't keeping these laws. They know nothing about these laws. Strange laws. Like America, strange laws.
That's right.
And they keep getting stranger and stranger every year, man. Strange laws. I mean, this internet is something else, man. Every week I come to the school. Brother got something new that he done seen on the internet that this government or this society is doing that's wicked as hell. There's just so much stuff that's going on, man. And they are strange laws. They are strange customs that we're not used to. But we've been in captivity and been dragged and kicked down for so long that some of us just get accustomed. Okay, I'll just give in to it. But it goes back to principles, though, right? Continue.
Verse 45, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Shabbat and festival days.
See, all leaders that have ruled kingdoms in this earth, even up until this very day, they know that the Most High exists. They know that. They don't want to go according to what the Most High institutes, but world leaders know that he exists. It's too much information out there, and they in too much of a high position to not to know these things. But they'll write books to denounce the Most High and do all this stuff just to keep you blind.
That's right.
Just to keep you ignorant. But they know that he exists, and they know the Messiah is making his second debut. They know that. Remember the class Saturday when I spoke about the Eastern Gate, that the Ottoman Empire sealed up that Eastern Gate, sealed up the walls, because that's how Yahushua came through the temple. And when he make his second debut, he's coming that direction. So show you how simple the Ottomans were. The leaders, they was thinking carnal, thinking that if they seal that wall up, Yahushua can't come back. And then they looked at, well, if we put a graveyard, a cemetery out there, if he come back, he gonna be defiled by the graves, and he can't walk through and enter into the temple area. That's wrong too. But leaders know that the Most High exists. Leaders know back then and today that the Mashiach, they know the history, brother. But they know that they're going down, so they're going to keep you foolish so you can go down with them. Because Satan trying to take down everybody he can.
That's right.
Because he know that there is a fall coming, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
Verse 46, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people. Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols.
Right.
And sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts.
Okay, let's jump a little bit. Go to the 48th verse.
Verse 48.
I wanted to go to the 64th, but I want to hit the 48th. No, I'm just hit a few verses.
Verse 48, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised.
Right.
And make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation.
Okay, so when Antiochus IV Epiphanes came in and he invaded Jerusalem, he told the mothers, no, stop circumcision. Don't circumcise your child. And in the history, it reads that he took this young boy that was freshly circumcised, took him, put him to death, and hung him around his mother's neck. See, that's history. And he took the young boys that have been circumcised, he put them on a wall and pushed them off the wall. Okay, and they fell to their death. So you looking at slavery, you need to go into that history too. Okay, and if you're not thinking, if you ain't got that history right, go back and read about Antiochus IV Epiphanes. Read about the forerunner of the Antichrist to come. That's him. The things that he implemented against our people is coming back in the future. So we urge all Israelites to get right with the Most High. Remember Saturday when I taught Luke 20, what was it, 21:20 or Luke 20:21? When Yahushua told the people, when you see armies encamped about Jerusalem, know that the time is nigh. Now, the only people that saw that and realized that, hey man, this is the sign, this is what the Mashiach was telling us. The armies of it was what? It was about 30,000 of Cestius Gallus military surrounded Jerusalem. And now he was on the move. He had already took many Israelite cities. So he was coming into Jerusalem, and Josephus, the historian Josephus, recorded that for some mysterious reason, he turned away from Jerusalem. And when the Christians, the Israelites that believed in Yahushua, when they saw that, they said, you know how we get. Brother, did you see that? Sister, you know what Yahushua was telling us? That's that sign. That's that sign. So the Israelites got together, the ones that had that faith, and they got up out of there. And like I said, they went to a place called Pella. Okay, that was that sign. When you see the armies come past, that prophecy, that was that sign. The armies come past about Jerusalem, get up out of there. That was in 66 AD. And the ones that didn't leave, 3.5 years later, who came back? Titus in 70 AD. Titus, the Roman general, came back and he blocked in the city and he stopped the water, he stopped the food, and he went into the city and he killed every Israelite that he saw. And one of his main top generals was an Israelite. Did we go over there last week? Yesterday, rather. His name was Tiberius Alexander. Go look him up.
Julius Tiberius.
He was from the tribe of Judah. Yeah. Alexander, the Greek, not Alexander, Titus, top general. Okay, Tiberius Alexander. Now, where we at? You read that 48.
Let me go back to 48 again, because
okay,
49.
And read the 49 too.
Let me go. Yeah, that's why I want that. That's why I want to be 48. Read now the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 48. Mm-hmm. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanliness and profanation.
You hear that? Make their what? Make their souls.
To the end.
See, we dealing with something spiritual. Captivity is a spiritual effect. Slavery is a spiritual effect. Don't let nobody tell, that happened way back then. No, but the spirit of it is still affecting. It's a spiritual thing, okay, from generation to generation, because you see it in the children up until this day. Let's go.
To the end, they might forget the law and change all the ordinances.
Right.
And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
So that was the goal of all enemies, all nations, when they come up against the Israelite, is to what? To make them forget the ordinances of the Most High, to make them forget about their God. And our people today have forgotten about their Maker, man. They want to try to liberate by doing everything else except for returning to the Most High. You return to the Most High said, I got you. I got you, but I have to prove you to be men. That don't mean, it's like somebody give you a job and just, okay, go on that machine. No, you got to be trained. You got to go through some things. You got to mess up on that machine to perfect it. See, so the Most High wants us to perfect the positions as kings, as leaders, okay, as Israelites. He wants us to perfect that position, to perfect that title. Not just going to give it to you. That's why the scriptures say, I'm taking them out. I'm going to take y'all to the jungle. We're going to purge out the rebels. And I'm going to try you as gold is tried, to make sure you shine, to make sure you get this. That's how the Most High get down, man. That's how the Most High structure things. You're not going, because I hear talk, hey, brother, when I get in the kingdom. Who say you going? You better keep trying to push and hope and pray, because King David said, look, if only I can be what he said, a doorman in the kingdom. So King David said, if only I can be that. So King David said, I want to make it there. I hope I make it there. If I can be a doorman, so don't start this talk that we do after we get a little yayan. Hey, brother, when you come, you can have my daughter and I'll give you a few flags of wine. See, you talking some stuff you seen on a movie. But the Most High is going to show you the real picture when that time comes. Okay, if a lot of you brothers and sisters was born, if you was born or if you was living or if you was young back in the 50s, 60s, and the early 70s when the Vietnam War was going on, and then when the Watts riot, when the riots are all over down in Memphis when Martin Luther King got killed, it was a revolution at that time. There were curfews that were set that you couldn't be out at a certain time. Okay, I lived part of that. I was young, but I was there, running home trying to beat that curfew. Yeah, and they was rioting, and the National Guards was out.
That's right.
In all the cities. Yeah, so if y'all can watch the documentary and remember that and see that, just imagine how it's going to be in the near future. Because I saw that. I was maybe about 7 years old or something like that. Come home from school, the neighbors in our house, whole living room, watching TV, looking at my mother, she crying. My next door neighbor's a man, he crying. My dad sitting there confused, didn't know what the hell to do, cry or what. But the reason they was doing that because Martin Luther King had just got assassinated. I didn't understand it because they let the school out early. There was riots and everything. So when I got home and saw that, I'm still trying to put it together. You know, but I didn't put this thing together until later on, you know, in life, talking to revolutionaries, talking to Vietnam vets, and then reading, and then coming into the truth, and then reading about our history. But it's going to escalate from what we saw or what we lived from the 60s and the 70s. It's going to escalate in these last days. So, see, they do a thing called rocking us to sleep. See, you had the COVID, and everybody was on alert. So now everything is smoothed out and everybody think it's cool now. So they rocking you to sleep now. And then when they start implementing this, implement that, implement this, y'all gonna say, oh, okay, you know. And then slowly but surely, your mind is grafted into their structure. See, they rocking you to sleep. See that? Let's move on, La Brian.
Verse 51, in the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice.
Right.
City by city.
And the ones that didn't sacrifice pork, the ones that didn't eat pork, Antiochus IV Epiphanes put them to death. Put them to death. Okay, now let's jump, La Brian. Let's go to the 60th verse. And then we're going to move somewhere else. Let's go to the 60th verse.
Reading out of 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 60. At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women.
Right.
That had caused their children to be circumcised.
Remember I said that the children that were circumcised, they killed the children, put them around the neck of the mothers, hung it? Yeah, real. Go ahead.
Verse 61. And they hanged their infants about their necks.
There you go. Read on.
And rifled their houses.
Right.
And slew them that had circumcised them.
And this is just for circumcising your child, something that you're supposed to do. So this shows that they want to wipe the Most High's belief system. See, they're really fighting against God. They want to wipe his memory out. They want to wipe Christ's memory out. And they want to wipe people serving the Most High. They really want you to serve Satan.
That's right.
Because this is a satanic society that we're living in. You got buses driving to and fro with pictures of two men hugged up together, all on the subway. So they're pushing this agenda. It's like I said, don't get rocked to sleep now. Continue.
Verse 63. Wherefore they chose rather to die than they might not be defiled with meats.
Now, that takes strong belief. Remember the title, the Feast of Dedication, and the level of faith that is required. That takes strong faith. No, I'm not going to eat the pork. Kill me. No, I'm not going to break the Sabbath. Kill me. You know, but some of them are breaking the Sabbath willingly. But it's going to be a time. It's going to be a time that the Most High is going to try each and every last one of us. It's going to be a time. Read on.
Verse 62. Howbeit many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing.
Right, because when this decree went out, Israel, you know how we do, Israel gathered together. Like in 73 AD, the fall of Masada. Josephus was part of that. When the Israelites, they gathered together, they had a council. So they knew the Romans was coming. That was the last stronghold of Israel on the mountainous Masada back in 73 AD. And they got a council together. They had men, women, and children. And they said, look, man, we fight. The Romans, they coming with thousands. It's only maybe about 500 of us. We got our children, our women. We ain't got no food. We ain't got no water. So if we fight, we gonna die. And the strong men were like, I don't want, they stab me up or wound me, and I survive. I know they're gonna humiliate me. I don't want that. So they all agreed to kill themselves. And in the history, it reads that when the Romans went up to the mount, when they came through, they didn't hear nothing. They're like, yeah, man, well, I know these niggas got strategic moves and everything. I know they fighters. They didn't hear nothing. They looked around. They didn't see nothing. But they came to the main court, and they seen all the women and children and the men laid out. And I think what Josephus was left, because somebody had to be the last that, well, I don't think I'm going to do it, So go read the history, and you can read a lot of history in the book of Josephus called The Wars of the Jews. You can read about the Feast of Lights. That's what Josephus called Hanukkah, the Feast of Lights. You can read the history in the book of Josephus, the Wars of the Jews. Okay? Y'all got the Josephus?
Done. I don't have it on
Okay. Y'all go read that.
That book is a brick.
Okay, continue to read.
Verse
Then
63.
we're going to get ready to close in a few minutes.
Wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not be defiled with meats and profane the holy covenant. So then they died.
Right, come on, 64.
And there was a very great wrath upon Israel.
Okay, now we spoke about Antiochus IV Epiphanes. Now, Judea was a part of the kingdom of Egypt until approximately about 200 BC. Now, when King Antiochus III of Syria defeated Ptolemy V Epiphanes, these are two Greeks.
Right.
One ruling Egypt, one ruling Syria.
That's right.
And it say this was at the Battle of Panium. The Battle of Panium. Go read about that battle. And it also say Judah became a part of the empire of Syria because Antiochus III defeated Egypt. So, Judah was just passed around. When they went against the Most High calls us what?
Horse.
Okay, so we was passed around like a deck of cards, bro. So Judah was passed here, passed there. So when Judah messed up, Egypt took them. Then Syria. See, they fighting over Jerusalem now at this battle of Panium. So Antiochus III defeated Ptolemy of Egypt. Now Judah's you take her. You take Jerusalem. That's how it's done because the Most High look at Jerusalem as a her. Okay. Now from here, it said Judah became part of the empire of Syria. Antiochus III, upon taking over Judea, but Antiochus III guaranteed the Israelites rights to live according to their ancestral customs and to continue to practice their beliefs in the temple of Jerusalem. So Antiochus, which is a Greek III, he didn't try to stop them from being, from circumcising their children. He didn't try to make them eat pork, but his son did. His son was Antiochus IV Epiphanes. And then it reads, in 175 BC, Antiochus IV, the son of Antiochus III, invades Judea at the request of the son of Tobias, which was Israelite. The same guy that I was saying that Onias expelled, and he went to Syria. He got an Antiochus, the fourth Epiphanes, got in his ear. Say, hey, man, Onias, the priest, man, them guys, put a bunch of lies in his head. Hey, they got riches all in the temple. Go and invade that, man. It didn't put me in position. Okay, so Tobias led a Hellenized Israelite fashion in Jerusalem, and he was expelled to Syria when the high priest Onias took control from him. Now, it said the exile of Tobias' son lobbied for the Antiochus IV to recapture Jerusalem. Now, in 168 BC, Antiochus IV ordered an altar to Zeus to be erected in the temple. And this event gives a future event in Matthew 24, 15, and 16, which speaks about the abomination of desolation. So this is a future, I mean, it happened back then, but it has a future context to it too. Like I said earlier, that Antiochus IV Epiphanes is the forerunner of the Antichrist to come. And you think Antiochus IV was vicious, get a hold of this future Antichrist. And I'm not saying a Antichrist, because people, we got Israelites that's Antichrist. They are against Christ. But I'm saying the Antichrist is a difference. Okay? Now, it's preparing for the future abomination of desolation. Now, it also reads, once Antiochus IV came into the temple, the practicing of the Torah was outlawed. You got to get rid of the books. Can't have no Bibles. Can't have no scrolls. Okay? All the religious system, the temples, the houses were shut down. And it said you couldn't even worship the Most High in open. It had to be a secret. They had to run in caves and hide to praise the Most High. You see that? And it says circumcision was stopped. Clean food, which is kosher, was stopped. They force you to eat pork. If you didn't eat it, you die. If you didn't worship Zeus, you die. If you didn't burn incense, remember the Caesars. If you didn't burn incense to the Caesars in AD time, you put to death, because you had priests that was doing that. So if you tried to stop Antiochus IV Epiphanes, you died to death. That's why Hanukkah, the Feast of Dedication, is so powerful. That's why I said it is a military feast. You understand? It's a revolutionary feast. It's a liberation feast, a feast about liberating people, about the wars that the Hashmonean dynasty, the Levites, the Maccabees fought to have us sitting here tonight speaking about Hanukkah. Suppose they would have folded. I mean, suppose they just would have rededicated the temple, rebuilt it, and not said nothing, and not gave honor to the Most High. Okay, they said, hey, we're going to dedicate the temple, and we're going to call this Hanukkah, and we're going to do this every year from generation to generation. They vowed to do this thing. No, Hanukkah is not in Leviticus 23. Purim is not there. But for them brothers to get out, fight the battles that they fought, the Most High don't have respect for Hanukkah. The blood that they spilled and the blood that they shed. And then Yahushua had respect for it in the book of John, 10th chapter and the 22nd verse. Okay? What we at? I'm still reading, right? Okay.
You still reading.
Now, also Antiochus IV Epiphanes made Israel sacrifice and bow to Zeus. Those are the weak ones. But the strong Israelites are not going to bow. They're not going to bow. They're not going to step to the side and leave the Most High. They would rather die than to bow to the Most High. And then by them dying, to keep them strong, they looking at resurrection. See, that's our hope for everybody from me and all of y'all sitting out there now. If it's no resurrection, we doomed.
We in trouble.
It's nothing. We in trouble. That's what Paul spoke about, the resurrection. If it's no resurrection, where are we? What future do we have? You're dead and gone. There's nothing. But because of the resurrection, there's hope. In that resurrection, in the first resurrection, there's hope. Don't get caught up in that second one now, because it's a chance you can be judged and still be dealt with. You want that first one. Okay, so now Antiochus IV, he sacrificed and had the Israel sacrifice and bowing down to Zeus in the temple courtyard. He sacrificed a pig on the Most High's altar, and he killed anyone that did not eat pork. And he sprinkles the blood of a sacrificed pig in the Holy of Holies. Totally disrespected the Most High.
God.
So look, the Most High is patient than any of us sitting in here. I'm a patient brother. No, you ain't as patient as the Most High. Because that brother that's saying that he's patient, he would have killed Israel a long time ago. The Most High is more patient because we don't understand the Most High's patience. Can you understand his love for his people? That's some heavy love, man. That's some love that you really got to sit down and meditate on for what we did to him.
That's right.
Right. And he still said, I'm going to bring you back. So it's the connection with the Most. Now, the scriptures give some of that, but we're going to find out the real deepness of it in the near future. The love of the Most High that he has for the people. Okay. And also, Antiochus IV Epiphanes martyred at least 100,000 Israelites, the righteous ones. Martyred at least 100,000. Killed 100,000. You see that? Okay, let's go from here. Let's go to 2nd Maccabees, and we're going to get ready to close and eat and feast a little bit, okay? Y'all want to do that?
Yeah.
Y'all want me to keep on, or y'all want to feast?
Come on, you're going to 7, right?
Huh?
You're going to 7, right?
Going to what?
2 Maccabees 7.
No, 6 and 30.
6 and 30? Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting 7 too.
All right.
I said, no, we don't want you to teach us. We're going to set the prayers up and let's feast. 2nd Maccabees,
6 and
2nd
30?
chapter, 6 and the 30th verse.
2nd chapter?
2nd Maccabees,
6, right?
the 6th chapter.
Okay. We have the book of 2nd Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 30. But when he was ready to die with stripes.
I tell you what, let's get the meaning of it. This is about the old man. I tell you what, read that.
We now the book of 2nd Maccabees, chapter 6, and verse 30. But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, It is manifest unto the Most High that hath the holy knowledge that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in my body by being beaten. But in soul am well content to suffer these things.
Read the 31st.
Because I fear him. And thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of a noble courage and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but unto all his nation.
This was an older brother. And Antiochus IV, he had respect for this brother. This brother was, 90-some years old, been around a long time. So Antiochus had respect for him, and he told the brother, look, just pretend that you eat.
Right.
So, the people can see that, and they can follow you because you got a lot of respect in this nation. Just pretend that you eating the pork, man. He said, man, I can't do that to my people. I would rather die to death, man. I can't do them like that, become a hypocrite. So that's what he did. He died to death. And he believed in the resurrection. Let's go to 7th chapter and the 20th verse.
Now the book of 2nd Maccabees, chapter 7, verse 20.
Mm-hmm. Now this is talking about the mother. She watched her sons being put to death and show you how strong she was. Come on.
But the mother was marvelous among all.
She was marvelous above all her sons. And her sons, it was 7 of them, right? Am I right? Come on.
And worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day.
She lost 7 sons. Come on.
She bare it with a good courage because of the hope that she had in the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Yea, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courageous spirit and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach.
You hear that? Read that again.
Yea, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courageous spirits, and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach.
A manly stomach. She said unto them. So you got this sister here. We got to go into some history about this sister, man, because I know it's more history out there on her name and all that. So we got to go into that. Her, and when you read the history about Esther, you read the history about Sarah, these are you sisters' mothers. Y'all hear that?
Okay.
These are y'all mothers. Yeah, so they were revolutionaries. See that? Are y'all revolutionaries? I can hear you. All right. Talk to me now. I ain't getting no help. All right. Wasn't Deborah, was she a revolutionary? Was Judah, she a revolutionary? All right. That's y'all mothers now. That's y'all sisters. All right. So y'all read about these sisters. Y'all read about the acts that they did. Okay. Read about the history. Read about the stories. Read about the valor. You hear what the scriptures say, that her womanly, read that again, stirring up her womanish thoughts.
And stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach.
With a manly stomach. She said unto them, what did she say?
She said unto them, I cannot tell how ye came into my womb, for I neither gave you breath nor life.
Right.
Neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you, but doubtless the creator of the world.
Where's she going? She going right back to the Most High. See, so sisters, when you read the history on your mothers as righteous revolutionaries, they always gave credit to the Most High. So y'all got to follow those footsteps and do the same thing. Everything that you do, and wherever your mind is set to do, the Most High got to be there. The Most High got to be right in the midst of it. Matter of fact, when before your words even go out, the Most High got to be there. Okay, continue.
But doubtless the creator of the world, who formed the generations of man and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again.
See, now, when she said breath and life again, what is she talking about?
Resurrection.
The resurrection. Come on.
As ye now regard not your own selves for his law's sake.
For his law's sake. So that's what make you bold. The resurrection make you bold, because you're looking at, you can't kill me. Go ahead, you can't kill me. That's how they looking at it. Come on, Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes. What you gonna do? Throw a spear in me? What, you gonna cut my tongue out? You gonna torture me? What you gonna do? You can't kill me, because my spirit lives on. That's how they talking now. That's how they talking. Now, when you tell your enemy that makes them mad. Yeah, they terrorizing you or tormenting you. You know, you feel that pain, but no, you can't kill me. You smile at me. You can't kill me. That's what our forefathers did, our brothers back then. They mocked them because of the resurrection. Because if there wasn't no resurrection, you think they'll be acting like that? And look, this resurrection began to be really pushed in the New Testament.
Yeah.
But this is in BC time right here. They pushing it into BC time. So that resurrection always been around, brother. That's how Israel actually lived and fought their battles, knowing that they coming back. But you got to be right, though. You got to please the Most High. That's why the young men, when they turned to the age to fight in wars, they didn't mind. Because they wasn't fighting over a block. They wasn't fighting over drugs. They wasn't fighting over no territory, no gang or nothing. They wasn't fighting, going back and forth, getting killed, trying to rob a bank. No, they was fighting over their customs, over their God laws. They were fighting for their people, for their nation. So they didn't mind dying. And they didn't mind helping somebody else die too. They didn't mind that at all either. And the resurrection, that was their belief. So we're going to move around. Let's go back into the Bible. Let's go to 1 John, the 2nd chapter and the 22nd verse. Y'all writing those scriptures down? Y'all writing the scriptures down? Okay, I ain't got no help. All right. 1 John, the 2nd chapter and the 22nd verse.
Read now to 1 John, 2nd chapter, verse 22.
Come on.
Who is a liar but he that denieth that Hamashiach is Yahushua?
Right.
He is Antichrist that denieth the Father and the Son.
Right, and then we have some of our people that's doing that. They is the Antichrist, but the Antichrist to come to implement his program, that's in a future tense. Okay, now, going back to Maccabees, let's go to 1 Maccabees, the 2nd chapter, and the 24th and the 25th verse, and we're going to get ready to wrap it up about another 3 minutes. 1 Maccabees, the 2nd chapter, and the 24th and the 25th verse.
Now the book of the 1 Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 24. Which thing when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal.
Now, Mattathias is the father of Judas Maccabees, is the father of the 5 brothers. They were part of the Hashmonean dynasty, and that name Hashmonean came from one of their ancestors who was called Hashmon. Y'all got it? Okay, so Mattathias was the one that started this revolution. Remember when Antiochus IV Epiphanes, he sent an ambassador into Modin, and he sent him to the wrong place that day, right? Because you had Mattathias and the Maccabees, his sons were there. So he sent an ambassador there, and an Israelite came up and started sacrificing to Zeus. And Mattathias, when the scripture said he was inflamed, read that.
Which thing when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled.
Angry, man, come on.
Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar.
Go ahead. Read
And
this
the
verse.
king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice,
Killed him too.
he killed at that time.
Right, go ahead.
And the altar he pulled down.
He pulled down. Now that's a man that's got in his mind the resurrection is real. I believe in my God. I believe in the laws. I got love for my people. I am a revolutionary. I believe in the liberation of my people. And he took them out. Now, Mattathias died in approximately 166 BC. But Judas, the Maccabi, which means hammer,
Right.
he took his place as the leader in 165 BC. And the revolution was successful. The temple was liberated, and it was rededicated. It was what? Hanukkah. Hanukkah was instituted, right? During Judas Maccabees' rule. Now, Judah ordered the temple to be cleansed and a new altar to be built in place of the polluted one, and new holy vessels was made. And you can read about these events in the book of Josephus, The Wars of the Jews. You got it? Now, there's a legend. This is my last thought right here. There's a legend out that we came upon, when I first came in the Word, about Hanukkah, about the menorah. There wasn't enough oil. It was a miracle done that it was enough for one night. And then it was a miracle that it was enough oil, that little oil burnt for all the days of Hanukkah. Now, where did we find that at? You find it in Maccabees?
Nope, you know I didn't.
Like I say, it's a legend.
Yeah.
See, we came up on that. But I want to give you some information of one source that I know of that this tradition or this legend came from. It came from one of the Seleucids, Antiochus V, Antiochus Eupator V, who is Antiochus IV Epiphanes' son.
Right.
So he was around during that time. He knew certain things or heard certain things that went on. So he wrote. This is called the Scrolls of Antiochus. The Scrolls, write it down. And I'm going to read what I copied from some of the writings in the Scrolls of Antiochus. Okay? It reads, it said, after this, the sons of Israel went up to the temple and rebuilt its gates and purified the temple from the dead bodies and from the defilement, and they sought after pure olive oil to light the lamps therewith. Okay? It say, but could not find any except one bowl that was sealed with the signet ring of the high priest from the days of Samuel the prophet. See, this bowl was all the way back from the time of Samuel the prophet. You see that? And it say,
That's
and they
around
knew
1000 BC.
that it was pure oil. And it say, there was in it enough oil to light the lamps therewith, Salaki. There was in it enough oil to light the lamps therewith for one day. But the God of heaven, now this is a Seleucid. This is a Greek. Assyrian Greek saying this in his records, what he wrote. He said, but the God of heaven, whose name dwells there, put therein his blessing, and they were able to light from it 8 days. See that? And then it say, therefore, the sons of the Hashmonai, you know, he called them the Hashmonai, but the Hashmoneans or Hashmonians. Therefore, the sons of the Hashmonai made this covenant and took upon themselves a solemn vow, they and the sons of Israel, all of them, to publish amongst the sons of Israel. It say the vow is to the end that they might observe these 8 days of joy and honor as the days of the feast written in the book of the law. So they wasn't going off into their own thing. They did, where they instituted Hanukkah according to the books of the law, like tabernacles. Okay, it wasn't something, hey, let's do this. You know, they made a vow. It wasn't anything negative with that. Now, where's the menorah, the 9 candle? Is that the 9 candlestick menorah?
That's 7.
7. Where's the 9 at? Oh, you got a small one? No, that's 7 too.
I like 9.
Where the 9 at we had? Is it? Yeah, right here. Yeah. Oh boy. You know, in Revelation, it speaks about the 7 candlesticks, right? So the 9 candlesticks is really, Hanukkah is really 8 days, right? This right here from the previous classes, y'all was in the classes, right? What is this called by a show of hand? Now we call the 7 candlesticks a menorah. What is this called?
Candelabra.
A what?
Candelabra.
What? A candelabrum.
Yeah, okay.
A candelabrum. A candelabrum. Okay, write it down. Candlebrum.
LeBron James.
Candelabrum.
Okay.
That's what it's called, right? Candlebrum. Candelabrum. You got it now?
Yes.
No.
All right. We're going to end about another minute. Now, you got this candelabrum. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's supposed to be like a
Server.
server here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, you got 8, which represents the 8 days. But the 9th one, what is the 9th one called? Give me some hands.
Yeah.
It's a server, but what does that mean? Right. It lights, as a server, it lights all the other candles.
Right.
Okay? And it is called a shamash, which means server. Shamash, that's what it's called. So a candelabrum and the shamash is in the middle. That's why some people say, the nine candlesticks. Okay, but this is not one of the candlesticks. This is just the server. This is the shamash. Okay. I was gonna say, wait, Kamash is what, 5, right?
Yeah.
Shamash. This is shamash. Okay.